Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvadha. Om Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayate. Om Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayate. Om Sa Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam everyone, Sairam. Thank you so much for joining us for today's satsang. It's been a while since we had a satsang. We had like a 1 month break. Apologies for that because it was actually a mistake on our part. But anyway, we are here again for another lovely satsang for today. All right. So as you all can see, the topic is on Mahashivarathri, awakening the mind. So we just had Mahashivratri celebrations about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So today's satsang session will be about that. Okay. So before I hand over to our moderator for the day, just a quick reminder to please keep your microphones muted. Unless you got something to say, please feel free to speak. This is an interactive session. So you're welcome to share your thoughts at any time during the session. So at that time, you can turn on your videos and you can also unmute yourself. If you're too shy to speak, you can always use the chat box as well. Okay, your questions will be moderated, will be passed over to the moderator as well. So don't worry, you can also send in your questions via the chat box. Okay, so without wasting any more time, I will pass it on to our famous moderator, none other than Brother Harvin Rao. Okay, Harvin, take it over.
Sairam everyone, thank you. And I don't know whether I'm so famous or not, but anyhow, I'm really very excited about today's topic. I think it's a very apt and very interesting topic, right? After we did so much for Mahashivarathri, right? So today's topic is going to be on Mahashivarathri, awakening the mind. So before we actually explore into what is awakening the mind, and we try to understand the importance and significance of Mahashivarathri itself, let me just quickly go through on how the format of today's panel session is going to be like. So we'll be having, as you can see on the screen, we'll be having 3 panelists. And I think what's really unique about today's satsang is we have 3 panelists from 3 different generations, right, across the generations, right? So we have adult, we have a young adult, and we have a teen also. So it's a very unique perspective, hopefully for today we'll have from everybody. Okay, so as what Navinana was saying, feel free to share your thoughts and interact with us via the chat box. It'd be really great if you can, on your video and, share your thoughts. It's going to be a very interactive session. So no need to be like so shy and, no need to be like so, so scared to open up and speak, right? So all of us are learning together, and that's the objective of satsang. That's what satsang is meant to be. Okay. So also to keep the session a bit more exciting and interesting, we also have like a surprise quiz that's coming, occasionally here and there while we go with the panel session, right? So look out for the quiz, and you can type in the chat box your answer. Fastest fingers wins lah. Okay, I'll tell you what the prize is after the satsang. Okay, so keep a lookout for the quiz that's coming your way. Okay, right. So let me introduce today's panelists to you. For the first panelist, this person, I think from the day I was a Balika student, I think I've really learned a lot from this person. And this person is also like for most of the satsangs that we have in the center, right? He will be the one, the idea, the brain behind the satsang. So I am personally very excited to, learn more about Shivaratri in today's satsang from this particular panelist. So Sairam Uncle Murthy.
Sairam, Sairam, Sairam.
Sairam, uncle. Right. So let me introduce the next panelist. Next panelist is a young adult, soon to be dentist. What else? Yeah, she's also a very aspiring role model for a lot of young adults in the center as well as the teens. Also, Balvika's guru, a group 4 guru. And occasionally when she's not there in the class, right, the students will be asking, "Oh, where is this Akka? Where is this Akka missing?" So she's that dynamic of a person. And let me introduce Sister Anushka. Sairam, Sister Anushka.
Salam everyone.
Sairam. Okay, so the third panelist, fresh after SPM. Let me introduce Sister Bhavadarini. Sairam. Okay, so these are our three lovely panelists for today. Before we go into the panel discussion, I said time for quiz, right? This is not really a quiz, lah. This is rather a very opening question to everybody in the call today. So you can type your answers in the chat box. Okay, so the question is, Shiva has a lot of names and a lot of forms, right? What is your favorite form or name that you personally connect with, that you feel a very strong personal connection with? So quickly type in the chat box. And also, maybe you can share, those who are not shy, they want to come online, turn the camera on and share your thoughts, also can quickly do so. Anybody wants to, speak? Come on, don't be shy. Yes, thank you, Naveen, for leading the charge. Okay.
Lead by example.
Nice. Okay, Shivalingam, Gangadhara, Rudra. Anyone else? Okay, Tille Ambala Nataraja, right? Okay, right. Interesting. Nilakanta. Okay, so a lot of names and forms we have of Shiva, right? Okay, interesting. So now let's ask our panelists itself, right? Our panelists itself, like maybe they can quickly explain on what is their favorite form and what's the, why do they like that particular form or name? So maybe I can start with Uncle Murthy.
Sairam. My favorite form will be Linga, the Lingam. And I would prefer just to call it as Lingam or Linga. I don't know why I never associate Shiva to that, but I just call it Linga. That's the favorite form.
Okay, nice, Uncle. So Uncle Murthy's favorite form is the formless Linga, right? So Linga means like, it has no surf, no corners and all that. It's basically it's round, right? So very interesting thought from Uncle Murthy. Next person, let me ask maybe Sister Bhavadarini. What is your favorite name or form of Lord Shiva?
I think it's Nataraja because it resembles dance.
Okay, because it resembles dance and you really like dance. Okay.
No, I don't.
No. Okay, right. Interesting. Thank you, Bhavadarini. And last but not least, let me ask Sister Anushka. What is your favorite form, Anushka?
Tille Ambala. I think I used to be known as Tille Selmi. So I relate it most close because I think the energy that comes off, when we see Tille Ambala, it just means like full of energy and there's rush to it. So I think that I can relate it most because I wish to be full of energy.
Okay, nice. That's one trivia question about Anushka. That one, one fact you didn't know about Anushka. Okay, right. Interesting. So with that, let us. I see a lot of answers coming in the chat. Yeah, very interesting answers. So
I think
keep
just
sharing.
keep them coming. Yeah, keep them.
Yeah, keep them coming. Keep sharing, and hopefully throughout our discussion, also you can keep sharing your thoughts, your ideas. If you have any questions, also you can put it through. We'll try to answer them as best as we can. Okay, right. So now let's move on to our official question for the day, right? So let me start with maybe Uncle Murthy. So the first question for today is, Uncle Murthy, have you observed Mahashivarathri by staying up the whole night? And what are the practices that what did you do, or what are your practices?
Okay, Sairam. I started observing Mahashivratri after coming to center. At home, we normally don't do that, So after coming to center, and then we started bhajans on Mahashivratri day, then going to temples and all these things. That was a practice that was going on within myself. Okay, I joined with the center group, but my family know. They know if Mahashivratri is there. When one day I did ask my dad. He said, sometimes I do stay awake because he worked night shift. So he said, oh, on the day I stayed awake, But it was not like the entire family staying awake or what. No. But after coming to center only, I used to go to temples and all, and we have bhajans in the center. And lately now, after this lockdown, in fact, before lockdown, 5 years ago itself, nowadays we have a program by Sadhguru. It's like the whole night, until morning. So we'll turn it on in the TV, and we are watching it until morning 6 o'clock. So during this period of time, what we do is while watching the program in the TV, I do go for my own meditation, 30 minutes interval, meditation. And I can tell you that I have what do you call uh, touched certain part of in my meditation that I very difficult for me to do during other period of time. But on Mahashivratri day, it is quite easy, and the questions that I ask and I get answered through that. Most of the questions are spiritual based questions. And lately for this Mahashivratri, I did ask about Linga, and then I was taken a great journey during my meditation on this word of Linga. Anyway, I'm not sharing for now. And what are other things that we do is, apart from this, I do read some books on Shiva, Lord Shiva, especially Sadhanas, what Swami has spoken about on Mahashivratri. Also, we do prayer, but the prayer is normal prayer. Normally 7:30 evening or 6:30 we do prayer. That's the only prayer that we do. We don't go to the altar and do prayer, but we are sitting in the hall and we will have a discussion within me and my wife. Sometimes children will join. That is my Mahashivratri on that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle, for the very inspiring answer. I think something about Mahashivratri day, I think it really helps us to easily find some answers, some connection to God. I think that's why it's such a special day for most of us.
Yeah.
Right. So so let me put forward the same question to Sister Bhavadharini maybe this time.
Hi Ram. I have not stayed up the whole night, but I did stay up until 3 o'clock because that was the most I could do. And what were my practices were we followed center to 3 different temples on that night. So I think that was, I only stayed up once, so I don't know much about the practices that happens. So that is the only thing that I know, and yeah, I couldn't stay up the whole night. So yeah.
Okay, right. So I think eventually all of us will get there. I think that's a very good start, that until 3 o'clock. So if you push a bit, like 4 more hours extra, I think you can reach the target already. So better luck next time. Okay, try harder. Okay, right. So with that, let me put forward the same question to Sister Anushka.
Okay, hello everyone. I think when I was much younger, we used to join the Sri Muda Center. So what happens is every year, without fail, we used to go several temples around the area and we would sing bhajans and, throughout the night from 6 evening up to the next 7 a.m. And at that age, or even in Medan, we all of us gathered in that center, and there's a restroom, there's food, and it will be the other stages and all. So at that phase or at the younger age, I can't recall it being a tedious or tiring night. It was more like fun, laughter, because we have friends and hanging out and together we're singing bhajans, and it was nice. But this year was a bit different. Like this is the one time where I actually seriously sat for the observance of the night, which was Mahashivarathri. So besides stressing to help in making sure nothing was going wrong in the national level Mahashivarathri celebration, but by myself, because we are doing virtually, I was alone in my room, but I was able to enjoy the bhajans, the Vedic chantings, the satsangs, and then there was Swami's video throughout the night, and it was, to be very honest, it was very engaging. Although I did not have a friend, alongside to keep me up, it was very engaging. Although the whole time I was spending fully for Swami and with Swami and only on Swami. And to be very honest, I think now when I think about it, it wasn't as tiring or as impossible I would have put my mind and set my mind into.
Okay, right. Thank you, Anushka, for the interesting answer. I think most of us would like to spend our Shivaratri in the way that you did. So I think really good job this year. Good job this year in practicing Mahashivratri. All right. So for the next question, we have a rather interesting question actually. And this question is specific to our title for today, which is we're speaking about mind, right? So the next question is, Mahashivratri Mahashivratri's essence is to awaken the mind and control it. What are your thoughts on this? What sort of control and why control the mind? So with that, let me put forward the question to Sister Anushka.
So Anna, like I think for me, my mind is already like very awake. Awake in the sense that it's constantly busy, it's constantly up and so awake that it's mostly out of my control. You know, Swami says, right, the mind is like a monkey mind. Swami doesn't say actually a monkey, he says a drunken monkey, and not just any drunken monkey, but a drunken monkey bitten by a scorpion. So I can only imagine the restlessness of my mind. And I think normally that's how the mind is disturbed. So constantly my mind is always thinking about what is, imagination, what's real, not real, what I like, what I don't like. And to be very recently I've been joining Bhagavad Gita class, and I feel very relieved that I'm not alone in this spell. I am not alone feeling disturbed with this profound inability to keep my mind under control. Because I learned that even Arjuna, a person with immense abilities to concentrate, even he himself goes to Krishna and says that, Krishna, I cannot keep my mind in control. And Krishna teaches him meditation, dhyana, and everything. And after listening to all those things, Arjuna still says, Krishna, I know all that sounds wonderful, Krishna, but for me it's useless. He kept saying that my mind is so strong, it's like a hurricane, and it's so difficult to control. And when is it that when it's that unsteady, and it's very difficult for us to even try to control. So like, why even bother to do so? And why must we put so much of effort? Like Krishna said, I meditate and everything. Why must I put so much of effort to tame the mind? And even recently myself, just speaking from my experience, I sat for an exam recently, and just before the exams, there's this where I'm isolated 20 minutes by myself, and I'm alone with my own mind. Yet I was so stressed and worried, and it's not even real. But in my mind, I was like, will the examiner like me? If I do not know the answer, how? If I fail, will Appa have to pay another big sum for my semester? And then how long should I wait before the next exam? I haven't even gone for the exam. And I was like, will I be trapped in Indonesia forever? It's like every time people ask me, am I going to be like in Indonesia? I'm in Indonesia. And then, oh, maybe I have to just give up on dentistry. And then when will I marry? When will I have children? And so many things. And then I was called for the exam, which was actually very easy. I was able to do it with confidence. It was easy. But after the exam, the mind starts to play its trick again. Did I read the exam question correctly or not? Or maybe since I'm not an Indonesian, will I be scored fairly? Or should I already start studying for the next exam? Or let's not have high hopes. That means I'll be upset later and everything. None of this was real. Nothing happened. But what did the mind do was it brought me to a whole ride of my life, or what was 20 minutes felt like one whole month to myself. And I can only imagine this happening every moment, every corner. Even when we sleep, sometimes we are thinking that tomorrow I must wake up, I must do this, I must do that, I must do that. Will I have time? Will I be there? And that is exactly what we want to control. So is to not let the mind take us on a ride, but to keep it focused on the reality, to keep it grounded, and to keep it calm, to keep it peaceful. So imagine if you're able to do all of this, you'll be able to feel the joy, the stability and bliss, and which I think the perfect word for this things that I'm explaining is prashanti. Everyone who goes to prashanti, they are able to feel all of this. And when we are able to feel all of this, when we are able to feel this prashanti, our decisions would be wise, our responses would be profoundly impactful, our thought processes would be so joyful. And I think, at least for me, it's very important, and it's very worthy if I'm able to control the mind. Yeah.
Right.
So
Go ahead, Anushka. Okay, right. So a lot of interesting sharing, I think, from Anushka. I think personal life is relatable to most young adults, and I think teens who are about to enter into the college life. I think it's very relatable. Thank you, Anushka, for sharing. Right. So when Anushka was saying things about the mind, right? I think, and also she spoke about the Bhagavad Gita. There's one particular verse from the Bhagavad Gita that I really like. I think it's very apt for Shivaratri la. I think it's just designed to be to be pondered on Shivaratri la, which is let me allow me to quote, right? So it's from the Gita chapter 2 verse 69. It says, Ya nisa sarva bhutanam tasyam jakarti samyami yasham jakarti bhutani sanisa pasyato munihi, which means that which is night to all being in the self-controlled man keeps awake. Where all beings are awake, that is night for the sage who sees. It's a very cryptic verse, but one literal way of looking at it is sleep lah. Sleep, when sleep, about sleep. But then if you really look into the deeper meaning, right, it's about controlling the mind. When you are daytime, right, you see a lot of different senses. Your senses are being constantly bombarded, stimulated, so many different things. TV la, while you're trying to do work, somebody is opening the TV, you'll be concentrating half mind on the drama that's playing on the TV, and then you're trying to do your work at the same time, and then suddenly your brother comes and knocks on the door and asks some questions. So constantly being bombarded from a lot of inputs. So basically this quote says that those who are able to switch off completely to that, all that external stimulations, and just to focus on themselves, is the enlightened soul already, is the Muni already. So even I think it takes a long way for us to reach that particular state, right? I think with Shivaratri, it's a very unique opportunity. But at the night, right, it's completely silent. You are just by yourself. It gives you that unique opportunity to really, touch on this aspect of, controlling the mind. So Anushka, thank you for sharing that wonderful input. So let me move on to Sister Bhavadharani. Sister Bhavadharani, what are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts on this are that the mind is very complex, one of the most complex things that God has ever created, I think. And the complexity of the mind can be used to drive yourself crazy with unbridled thoughts and emotions, or control it and do things that were never known possible to mankind. And what sort of control, to me, very simply put, is paying attention to one particular thing at one time. You don't do like you will be doing a work and you don't think about something else. That is not controlling the mind. That is letting your thoughts waver, and that isn't going to produce anything good. It isn't going to give a good outcome. And why control the mind? There are many consequences when the monkey mind isn't under control. Like Anushka said earlier, I just finished my exam. So for us, we have BM speaking tests. So we have 10 minutes to prepare with 5 friends. And once we got the topic, everything was chaos. Everybody was like, we all went blank and we all were stealing each other's points. We were like, okay, you take this, okay, I take that. And 5 minutes was over just to pick our topic. And then when we started to find bombastic words for ourselves, tried to huraikan that EC to ourselves before going into the hall, I couldn't concentrate. I was like, I'll be reading to myself and I'll find myself listening to the person behind me. That is where I lack my mind control. And then I had 2 minutes left. And I was like, okay, 2 minutes only. I have to do this because this is going to help me with my BM marks. And I was like, okay, I sat down. I closed my ears. I covered my ears, not listening to anybody else. I read the whole thing. And when I went in, that 2 minutes was the most productive 2 minutes from that 10 minutes. So I think as a student, that 2 minutes time helped me a lot while controlling my mind than the 8 minutes that I didn't control my mind. And usually we have homeworks, right? So I think the control of the mind is important, where a 1 hour homework becomes a 3 hour load when your mind isn't under control. Like, okay, I want to scroll through Instagram. Okay, I want to go and eat. Those breaks aren't actually breaks because you don't get anything from it. It's just your mind winning you over. It's just your mind telling you what to do. It's just your mind controlling you when you don't get what you want to get out of it, but your mind does. So I think controlling the mind can make you a tremendous person for the effort you put. So I think controlling of the mind, the main thing is you have time. You'll have time to do things that you want to do. So I think that is why you should control your mind.
Okay, interesting. Interesting sharing from Bhavadharani. I think very hot from the oven experience, lah. This one. Okay, right. So I think while Bhavadharani was saying that, right, there's one analogy that Swami used to give. I think it's very very apt, lah. I think even that also I think kind of relates to the Mahabharata and the whole Bhagavad Gita. Right? So basically, what Swami says is, imagine the body is like a chariot, right? It's like a chariot. You know, the chariot with the horses and all that. So if you notice, right, there are five. If you see the Bhagavad Gita, the picture, I think it's a very famous picture where Arjuna is riding on a chariot and Krishna is holding the reins, and there are five horses basically. So Swami says these five horses are like the five senses that we have, right? The different five senses, sight, smell, and all these things, right? So what happens is while the horses are wild, right? The horses are wild. Each one will try to pull in its own direction. Your eyes might be seeing something. Your ears might be hearing something. Your taste might be sensing something. Everything is pulling in a different direction. But how do you put it in line and move forward? The reins to the horses, you give it to the Lord. So that you sitting on the chariot, you can focus on what's important. You just hand over the reins to the Lord and then let the Lord drive the chariot forward. Then you focus on what you need to do. I think both Anushka and Bhavadharani, I think really put it very well in terms of how you can put this mind control into practice. And last but not least, let me call upon Uncle Murthy to share his thoughts.
On this question, let's separate it mind and control. Okay, the mind, as you all know, we have done study circles on this. Mind is only a bundle of thoughts. So what thoughts you put in, that's how your mind works. And as Bhavadharani said, mind is very, very complex. It's very true. It's an invisible energy that is very, very complex and which is taking over us for a ride, actually. Okay, sometimes we got no control over it. Okay, then the second word, control, actually the right word should be regulate, because we only control machines. Okay, that's all. We can control a radio, we can control a TV, we can control a machine. Mind is something that we need to regulate. Maybe the meaning here, control, is actually is meant for the regulate. Because I give you an example. On the March, you never do any meditation, you don't do anything great. On Mahashivarathri, you suddenly come and sit down. What would be your thoughts be if you want to meditate? It will be very difficult for you because you never regulated your mind yet. So mind is something like a thought. It has to be regulated. And regulate means constant reading of literature, constantly doing something very positive thoughts, and all this will have some effects on your mind. And further to this, Swami have said that the mind is linked to the moon. Okay, the deity, the mind's deity is the moon. Okay, the Lord of mind is actually the moon. If you look at it, the waning moon starts 13 days, starts waning, come to the 14th day is Mahashivarathri. And we have little bit left there. And Swami said, you must use on this particular day, the energy that you receive from the cosmic energy that you receive on this day is very low. So use on this day, meditate upon God and try to remove this, even the last little remaining, and that will bring you success. You'll be able to regulate, and then you will master your mind. Okay, that's right. And further to this, Swami has also given that the moon itself got no self-illumination. It doesn't light up on its own. It has to depend on the sun. Because of the sun, you see the moon is shining. Okay, so the sun is our Atma, the self-effulgence that is within us. And the mind is dark, actually. This is the power that within us that has to illumine the entire body, including the mind. That is why during our meditation, we take the light straight to our heart first. From the heart only, we separate every part of the body. So the heart is very, very, our spiritual heart is very, very important. That's where the self or the Atma stays. Okay? So the Atma is, we have to focus on Atma, but not on the mind. And as Sister Anushka said, Swami also said this, the mind is like a monkey. And it runs like a horse. Monkey, they jumps around. Horse, they run around. Okay? But ask yourself, how long can a horse run? Let's say the horse can run 100 kilometers. After that, what the horse will do? It will rest. The monkey can jump around the trees for 3 or 4 hours continuously. After that, what the monkey will do? The monkey will rest. Similarly, when we have to focus our mind on something, initially the thoughts will go in a different way. Okay, it will stray. But keep focusing. When it strays out, one fine day you'll be able to succeed. Just like how the horse and the monkey take rest. Okay, this is how is our sadhana. Okay, that we how to control the mind is not that easy, because why? The mind actually evolved from our childhood. So there's a lot of tendencies that has already been put conditions in our mind. So suddenly you do one day, one single day, it's very difficult. So it takes a process in order to do this. Okay? And then what sort of a control, why we need to control our mind is because, as Swami have often said that control your mind and be a master, regulate your mind and be a mastermind. So if you don't, if you listen to the mind and not to your heart, then it will be very, very difficult. So in order to listen to the mind, it gives us two tools. One is our buddhi, okay, to use our buddhi, and then another one is to use our conscience. So if we always ask these two, before you do anything, if you ask these two, it will always tell you the right thing. So you won't stray, or you won't do anything bad. If you stray, you will come back to normal. So on the Mahashivarathri day, if you wanted to do this on a single day, it will be very difficult. You have to start practicing only then on Mahashivarathri day, you pray to Lord and ask for his forgiveness, and then illumine yourself. If you ask him this, he will definitely give you illumination. Okay, and that illumination is not anywhere else, it's within your heart. So from your heart, your Atma able to regulate and control and master the mind. So it will be easy for us to do that. So, but it's a process, it's not a single day event. Well, that's all what I wanted to share. Thanks.
I think Swami has put it in one single beautiful quotation: control the mind and be a mastermind. So I think whenever we look at Shivaratri, I think that's probably the best quote, I think, to put it, to put it forward, right? So remember we said we have some quizzes for everybody, right? So it's time for another quiz. Okay. Okay, listen to the question very carefully, and you can type your answer in the chat box. How many Shivaratris are there in a year? How many Shivaratris are there in a year? Trick question, this one. Wow, 24. No, some of you got the right answer, almost the right answer. Okay, right. So it's not one Shivaratri, okay? There are actually about 12 to 13, depending on the lunar movement, right? Because Shivaratri is based on the lunar calendar, right? So it's about 12 to 13 Shivaratris in a year. Okay, every month there's a Shivaratri, but there's only one Mahashivarathri, which we just celebrated, right? So basically there's a very special significance on why it falls, on that particular month, right? So you can go back and look up the answer. Right, so a lot of interesting sharings. Hopefully, we all learned something lah. Okay, right. So before we move to the next one, let me read out a passage from what Swami has said, right, with the question. Okay, so let me read out. It must be remembered that the chief aim of all sadhana, spiritual striving, is to eliminate the mind and to become a manasaka. Then only can Maya, illusion, be rent asunder and the reality revealed. During the dark fortnight of the month, sadhana has to be done to eliminate each day a direction of the mind. For every day, a fraction of the moon too is being taken out of cognizance. On the night of the 14th day, the night of Shiva, only a fraction remains. If some special effort is made that night through more intensive and vigilant sadhana like puja, japam, dhyana, ritual worship, one-pointed repetition of holy names, and meditation, success is ensured. Shiva alone has to be meditated upon that night without the mind straying towards thoughts of sleep or food, I think this one. This has to be done every month, once a year. On Mahashivratri, a special spot of spiritual activity is recommended, so that what is Savam, corpse, can become Shivam, God, by perpetual awareness of the divine indweller. So Swami said this in the year 1969 for February Mahashivarathri. Okay, right. So our next question is going to be based on this quotation, right? So I think Swami have said, has really put it very well. And moving on to the question to everybody. Okay, so the next question is, what are the sadhanas that are best for us to practice to help us control and then eliminate the dualistic mind on Mahashivratri night? And then a follow-up question is, how can we benefit from then doing these sadhanas on a consistent basis in our daily activities? Okay, so let me put the question forward to Sister Bhavadarni this time.
What are the sadhana that are best? I think it's Namasmarana. And there are many forms of Namasmarana, but what I'm using is the mantras, repetition of mantras 108 times or as many times as there is. And the repetition of these mantras can be as simple as Om Sai Ram 108 times. That is the simplest form I know. And this activity, this practice that is going to be happening is better for me when I use Japamala, because your hands are going to start disturbing you, and it wants something to touch or to play with. Your hands are always very active. It wants to do something. So I think the Japamala gives the sense of touch what it wants, and also does not interrupt your mind control, because it becomes an involuntary action. Once you start doing it and you start chanting in your head or heart, it starts becoming an involuntary action. So your sense of touch is fed, your control of the mind is being developed. So I think Japamala is used to tame your mind for a while, just to get yourself into that mode of the mind control. And what are the benefits? Is that you can concentrate for a long span of time. This is what I experienced once I start doing Namasmarana. I could concentrate for a longer span of time, and I needed a shorter span of rest when I was studying. So I needed a shorter span of rest. So I didn't take up much time in resting, but my working time was very efficient. I could do what I wanted to do. Obviously, there were some thoughts, but you need to pull yourself back when the thoughts come in. You cannot just go with the thoughts. I think that is the part where you control your mind. Pulling yourself back from the thought, however nice it may be. You may suddenly think about a cute puppy and you cannot resist yourself, but you still pull yourself back. That is the control of the mind. And I think you can rest peacefully, and you can do a particular work like studying very efficiently, assuming you have to control your mind for it. So I think the control of the mind plays a very important role in something that benefits you. You get 2 times or 3 times more of that benefit while controlling your mind than you do while not controlling your mind. So that's it.
I think interesting approach towards controlling the mind. I think what Bhavadharani is basically trying to put is like in the step of trying to control the mind. Maybe the first step is to focus the mind on a particular thing that you really wanted to do and to focus on. So I think Japamala is a very good example of trying to concentrate and focus your mind towards onto something, right? So I think very interesting sharing, Bhavadharani. And so the same question, let me put it forward to Anushka.
Like I mentioned earlier, and everyone, concentration or controlling mind isn't easy if you personally speaking from personal this one. But at the same time, knowing the benefits that Uncle shared and knowing the benefits from what Bhavadharani and everyone else shared, I think it's something that we can put effort, and with all the distractions around us and with all the joy the world provides, with all the gratification around us in the form of media, phone, entertainment, all in our palm, just a click away. I feel like we have to provide the mind an equally appealing, powerful tool to distract it. And without its knowledge, without the mind's knowledge itself, I feel like we have to trick it into one pointedness. And for that, of course, any sadhana is possible. But personally, I feel one effective way in this era of reasons and logic is like what Bhavadani say, Namasmarana, chanting the name of the Lord's name. And that too, personally, I feel if it's coupled up with music, and if you take it to another level by singing the name in a group and singing it with like-minded aspirants, it becomes more impactful personally for me. And I mean, if the Lord's form means, I would be busy seeing, if the alankaram is beautiful, is the garland beautiful, and if it's just linga, personally, I would find it so plain, and my mind would want to do everything but look at the linga. So, and for me, like just imagine a simple name, Shiva, in a tune, and then in case my focus wanders, I sing it with my friends with variety of tune and meaning. The mind, without its own accord, without its own capabilities, without its own independent thing, it cannot help it but focus and enjoy the whole process of that intense concentration. And it is said, like earlier, like I think uncle said, like it is said that mind is always related to the moon. And that is why, it explains why Shiva have the crescent on his hair. And when the moon, throughout the lunar month, it changes. And that is how our state of mind changes similarly. So, I mean, to put it in a more theoretical manner, we always see that the moon causes rise and tide in the ocean. And in fact, modern biology nowadays says that the movement of leaves and grasses are also due to the impact of moon on the water contained in the plants. And if that's the logic, we humans are made 2/3 water. Majority we are water or fluid. So on this night, when only the tiniest aspect of the moon is said to be left, that means the moon only has tiniest effect on us because we are made of water. Just before it disappears the next day, on this Mahashivarathri night, the mind is said to be easiest to control. So our mind on this night is the most obedient, and we have the power to influence it with the holy name of the Lord. And like in my style, we can put it in a tune and we can do it intensely in a group and expect a maximum possibility of success. And like Anna said, like there's many Mahashivarathris and all of that. If you're able to do this on a regular basis, just like, bhajans, it can be the key to achieve a perfect mind tranquility, like, free from the world and full with the Lord.
Interesting observation, Anushka. Body is 70% water, so the moon should technically be affecting us also. And what a wasted opportunity if we just, sleep during Mahashivarathri, right? You not able to tap into that shortcut route, I think, to, realize God, right? So very interesting observation, Anushka. And I think as what Bhavadani and Anushka was saying, I think they shared two very interesting tips. Bhavadani talked about mantra repetition, chanting through japam and all that. And Anushka said, why not try bhajans and try to focus, do group singing, so that you can try to realize the full potential of Mahashivratri together as a group. So two very interesting approaches. So now let's hear from Uncle Murthy.
Okay, Saram. Thanks, Sister Anushka and Bhavadani. You shared a lot on this, and especially on water. So I don't have to share about the water and effects on us, since Anushka has already shared about it. It's very easy for us to say the best practice is focus on God. Very easy, everybody will say, oh, you must look and think about the God. Sit for a while and think where your mind goes. For a while, yeah, you will focus. After that, your mind will stray. It will go here and there. So let it go, okay? Let it go. But during this period of time, while you are still contemplating on Lord Shiva or Swami, okay, on this day, just ask yourself, how have I changed from beginning till now? Ask yourself, what are the bad habits that I had before and I don't have it now? So that shows that you have already progressed to a certain level. And that will give you a lot of positive energy within yourself, that I was like that before, and now with a lot of practices, spiritual practices that I've done, I'm so and so now. So a lot of things that we have done, but we never look back at our past. During this period of time, just take a look at the past, and then see how you have evolved and changed in terms of your character, your thinking, and all that. And also ask yourself, how much have I gained? The gain here is knowledge, not gaining your weight. Okay, it's on the knowledge. I know after this lockdown over, I'm seeing I bumped to one of you here, and I'm seeing most of you have gained weight. Only I have problem in this particular line, okay? Very difficult to gain a single weight, single kilo. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, how much have I gained in terms of my knowledge? Before coming to center, okay, most of us here are from our side center. Ask yourself, how much knowledge did I have on spiritual before coming to center? And now, how much have I learned? So if you start focusing on this positiveness in us, this will actually bring us on a Mahashivarathri night. It will bring you some illumination within yourself that how you have evolved. Okay. And talking about dualistic mind, okay, to eliminate the dualistic mind. The word dualistic is you separate your Atma, Jivatma, and Paramatma. Normally we separate. That is why we call dualistic. We have to be non-dualistic. That the Jivatma and Paramatma is same. And the same Atma is present in all creation, in all the beings, including the animals. Okay? So how you have to behave to all of them. So we have to see God in everything that you do. Because what is inside us is a spark of divinity, right? So this spark of divinity is the one that we have to focus on, and the same thing that goes to others. So then they eliminate, the question is, then they eliminate the dualistic mind on Mahashivratri night is actually when you focus on this particular, what I said about the Atma is same in all, then automatically you will come down yourself to say that I and he are one. So the best practice here will be that, as what the sisters say, practice on prayers, japa, fine, you do it. But also ask yourself, how much have you changed? And in what way it has benefit. The second, how can we benefit from this sadhana on consistent basis in your life? You will know how much benefit you get. But remember, each time you do sadhana, there is a benefit. But remember, you have accumulated a lot of karmas from our past birth. So this benefit will slowly reduce the karma, and you won't see the success immediately. You'll be thinking, my God, I'm doing prayer, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but I don't see great changes in me. Continue doing. Yes, continue doing without any complaint. Slowly, 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 as your karma reduces, then you see the benefit. But don't stop. Give you one simple example. Let's say now I'm driving my car. Okay, I started my car. Let's say I'm going to Ipoh. I started my car in the night. Okay, and the road is a straight road to reach Ipoh. When I turn on my headlight, okay, my headlight can only reach 30 meters or 20 meters. But Ipoh is 200 kilometers away. I can't see Ipoh. But with the visibility of the 20 meters from my headlight, if I start moving, within 2 hours or 3 hours, I can reach Ipoh. So the idea here is start moving. Don't stop. Continue your journey. Okay, the benefit will come. Maybe not immediately. Okay, don't feel dissatisfied because you can't see the benefit immediately. But continue your sadhana, and you will achieve something. And while you do service is fine. Service is something great. That's why Swami says the hands that serves holier than the lips that pray. But Swami never said don't pray. So continue your prayer, continue your meditation. So it will definitely, with all this you put together, service, bhakti, and also your dhyana, meditation, somehow it will benefit you. Okay, that's all. Thanks.
I think Uncle Murthy summed it up. Listeners, I think you ask yourself, where am I progressing or not? Even if you're not progressing, also keep doing it. Eventually, you'll reach the goal. I think it's applicable to most of the things we do in life also. So very interesting. Thanks for summarizing it, Uncle. Right. So we'll move to the final question for today. I think it's a very interesting topic as well. Okay, now let's talk about Nandi, right? So you see, when you go to the temples, Shiva temples and all that, you always see that the Nandi is facing Lord Shiva. So what do you think Nandi's sadhana is? And how can we be more like Nandi in our daily life today? So let me start the question with Sister Anushka, maybe.
Okay, so I believe here, what is the Nandi sadhana here? Okay, for me, now I believe that Nandi keeps his view centered to the Lord, unwavering, unflinching focus on Shiva, on him. And to be very honest, before the preparation of this satsang, I used to think, we whisper some prayers and wishes in its ears, and then it conveys it to Shiva. And after preparing, and I found out that despite that is not true. I mean,
I've also seen people doing that in temples.
In movies, I've seen that. So, but what I realize now is, despite all the troubles the world try to whisper into the ear, all the temptations, the Nandi remains steady with his resolve to only focus on the Lord, come what may, only the Lord. And just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no matter what the magnitude of sorrow, the degree of disturbances, the self remains the same, ever joyful and ever centered on the Lord.
The punchline, I think, very interesting, very nice, very nice. So, okay, that's Anushka. Let's hear from Bhavadharani. Bhavadharani, what do you think of this question?
There is a story behind this question, why Nandi is only facing Shiva. That this priest used to bring water for Abhishekam and was troubled by a demon named Kanjan. And then Shiva created Nandi to kill that demon, because the priest was doing something for Shiva out of love. And the love of a devotee is being interrupted by a demon. So that was the reason Nandi was created. And yes, Nandi killed him successfully. And since then, Nandi is always facing Shiva, because his sole purpose was to protect Shiva. That was the reason he was brought to life. So even after he left, or even after he died, or so many things, his sole purpose is still being maintained. He still wants to protect Shiva at any cost, because that was his main purpose of being brought to life. So that is what I think about this.
Okay, right. Interesting observation, Bhavadharani. Let me move on to Uncle Murthy. Uncle Murthy, what do you think of this?
Simply to put, it can be a joke. Nandi never uses his mind, he uses his heart. That is why it focuses straight to Shiva, because Shiva is his creator. Just like us, when we are small, we always look at our only parents. Let's say you got no TV, nothing. So you will only look at your parents. So similarly, Nandi knows Shiva is my creator. So it's looking only at Shiva, and it knows Shiva is God. Okay, I have to only focus my direction in God and serve him. Similarly, we have to also serve the God, because he's our creator. But since we have something called mind, okay, we start thinking Shiva is different, I can do what I want. Dualism. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, I think it's a very good thought. I think the problem with the world nowadays also is we have a lot of smart people. Sometimes, being like Nandi is just good enough. Just have the heart towards God, and, you don't need to think so much. You don't need to be so smart also. So I think very good observation, Uncle. So from what I feel, right, it's like Nandi is basically a symbol of eternal waiting. Like what Uncle Murthy was saying, right? Do your sadhanas, no matter how long it takes, just keep calm and do your keep focus on what you're doing. So I think Nandi is a symbol of eternal waiting. You always see the Nandi statue. Nandi statue is not standing lah. You never see the Nandi statue standing or like, trying to walk or something. You never see positions like this. You always see Nandi quietly, patiently sitting in the same posture, kneeling down in front of Lord Shiva, right? So that's what it symbolizes when you cross, right? When you go into the Shiva temple, right? You see the Nandi first. Before you see even Lord Shiva, you see the Nandi first. So it reminds you that once you pray to Lord Shiva, always have that patience in heart. Shiva is always very easy to please. He's very pleased with what you do. But the one thing he demands from you is patience, right? So I think Nandi is a good reminder of this, right? Okay, right. So as what Chandinaka mentioned in the chat box, if you have any questions or any personal sharings that you wanted to share on Shivaratri, also please feel free to. Now is your time to speak. Anyone? Yes, let's have some sharing from participants. Maybe you can share experience on how was your Shivaratri this year or Shivaratri experiences from your past years. What are the learnings out of it? some of different things you can share. And how do you feel about the sharing that we did today? Do you have any additional inputs to share?
Saram, Harvi. So
Yes, Anna.
I've got a question. I don't know, anyone can answer. So earlier, for the earlier question, right, we saw the quote from Swami. Swami said that it's very interesting. Actually, Swami said we have to eliminate the mind, right? We have to eventually eliminate the mind. But our topic today is to awaken the mind, right? So Swami says eventually you have to eliminate the mind, right? But it sounds very, when you say to someone young, you say, okay, eventually you have to eliminate the mind. No, you eliminate the mind. What's going to happen if I eliminate the mind? What does it actually mean? What does it actually mean to eliminate the mind? And why Mahashivarathri night is the best night to actually get this process, on the way, to eventually eliminate the mind. So that was just what I wanted to ask. So anyone?
Yes, let me put forward the question to our panelist. Any input from anyone? Yes, Uncle Murthy.
If the word eliminate the mind is eliminate the negativity in the mind. And awaken the mind means once you eliminate this negativity, which is the Maya, then automatically your mind will be awakened. Because it's always seeing the positiveness. So that is what they say. You have to kill the mind, okay, eliminate the mind. But you can't completely eliminate the mind because it is thought. Okay, when the positive comes, positive is also thought. Okay, it's still the thought process, but it will be a positive thought, not a negative thought. That is the meaning of eliminate the mind and also awaken the mind. Okay.
Interesting answer, Uncle. Does it answer your question, Anna?
Yeah, but also the other part where it is the Shivaratri night, like what Anushka was saying earlier, right? Just the night, when we say Shivaratri, it's because of the presence of the moon, right? Which is, almost going to wean off, right? And then if you relate that to the power of the water and how water is controlled by the moon. So during Shivaratri night is when we are least controlled by the moon, right? So we are able to concentrate more. So but that happens on every Shivaratri night. We go 12, 13 Shivaratris. So why is Mahashivarathri even more special? People say that you sit for Mahashivarathri when you spend time on Mahashivarathri night. They don't say on any Shivaratri, they say Mahashivarathri, right? And that is the emphasis we put on. So what is it about Mahashivarathri that is extra special, where we are able to, connect with God easier, or connect with, the Lord easier? What is it that is so special about Mahashivarathri?
Can I answer that?
Yes, Uncle, please.
Please.
Okay. The greatness about this Mahashivratri is because apart from all the other Shivaratri, this is a particular Shivaratri where the energy level, the cosmic energy level compared to other Shivaratri, only on Mahashivratri, it comes very, very low down to earth. That is why sometimes they say, don't sleep. Try to sit or stand on the day because you will get this energy from it because it comes so low on this particular day and it comes from the northern hemisphere. It comes straight. So if you're living in northern hemisphere, it's really great, to do this, where you can see the northern lightings, you can see the Milky Way galaxy and all that, because it is coming from that point of view. Okay, and we are down south here, but we can still get it. That is why they ask you to at least sit or stand with your back straight because you can get this energy. And imagine if you can sit quietly and do a meditation. On this particular day, it's very easy to enter into the state of meditation level. And I'm talking based on my experience, okay? Because on this particular day, it's very, very easy. And your mind, as far as Tanuska said about the water and all that, everything has reduced and waiting for you to tap into that energy. And it's because of that, the energy that is the cosmic energy comes very low for us to help us to touch it. That is why we call it on Mahashivarathri day. Special day. That's my understanding.
Yeah, thank you, Uncle. I think I was also curious, like, what's the difference between this Mahashivratri? Why is it so special, right?
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's an opportunity, that's what Swami said, where, Savam can become Shivam, right? So I think it's an opportunity on Mahashivratri. Right, interesting. So anyone else before we
just want to add a little bit in there.
Yes,
And
please.
if I'm not mistaken, the Mahashivarathri is, like Uncle says, is the highest cosmic energy. It is not only believed that we should be awake. There's another thing where it was I read recently, where the idea should also be where you cannot lie your head in the lying position, because it's also harmful. So that is why they ask you to try to sit upright, because the position of sitting upright and all, not only to absorb the energy, that is of course the very extra advantage for us, but there's also a slight disadvantage if we are in the lying position. It is such so that our, like the north-south attraction, where the pole, and then they say we can't sleep in north because our mind, the pull of the north and all. Similarly, during this energy, when we are lying down, the mind becomes even more agitated. So thus it said that we should be on Mahashivarathri. It's best if we stay awake on this day.
I think Chandini also like summed it up pretty well in the chat box. I think, yeah, it's about the spine being upright, right? So as what Anushka was saying also, if you are sleeping, right, it's actually more harmful for your body, right, if you do that. So I think it's a very good observation and sharing from everyone. Do we have any other question from anyone, or any other personal sharings from anyone? Yeah, thanks for the question, Naveen, and I think it was helpful for us to learn more things about Shivaratri. Okay, so if there are no further questions, that's it from me and our panelists for today. Panelists, would you like to say any last words? Baudharni?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. One word, last word.
Sweetest last word.
Anushka, anything to conclude?
With this, I would like to encourage all of you all next year on our Shivaratri celebration. See you all then.
Yes, Shivaratri marathon next year. Okay, right. Uncle Murthy?
Yeah, something I share. It's regarding on Shivaratri, we say concentrate on Lord Shiva or Swami or Linga, we ask them to concentrate on that. Imagine how you take it to your daily life. In daily life also, we have to concentrate on God. But how? You are student, some of us are working, some are housewife, some are retired people. So to sum it in a simple way is, although we focus on God, we have to carry out our chores, our duties. So while you are doing your duty, for a student, when you go to school, you cannot be simply chanting Saram, 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 Saram. You have to focus on your studies. Okay? But when you are free, when each book that you open, you can say a prayer. Before entering the exam, you can say a prayer. Before going to school, you can say a prayer. Here, you are constantly thinking about God. Okay? As a student level. For working, let's say you are driving now, you have to focus on the road. Sometimes we have to go and see our client, we use GPS. And even before you turn the GPS, you say a small prayer, or you might just say, Swami, guide me to this place. I don't want to get stuck in the jam and be late. Again, this is also a prayer, thinking about God. And once you reach that place, okay, also you can say a prayer, okay, I'm going to meet so and so. Let me check all my senses that I don't overdo or say something that is not right. Okay, and before you see while you're seeing that person, you can also think, my God, I'm seeing another divine Atma there. Okay, this is how you see God in everyone, the spark of divinity in everyone. And this is also your every day doing a prayer, like seeing God in your daily life. Okay, even a housewife, when you do cooking, you can think about God, you can say prayer. When you read a book, whenever you watch, you do anything, also you can focus on God, but you can still do your duty. You have to carry on this in our daily life. This is a practice that not only on Mahashivratri day that we focus on God, every day in our life also we have to focus on God, because the underlying factor of God is love, so that you spread this love to everyone equally, and there you will have benefit coming to you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Murthy. I think Uncle Murthy really summed it up very well for today's sharing session from our panelists. So with that, let me hand it over to Brother Naveen. Thank you all for joining us. Sairam.
Thank you so much, Harveen, and all our panelists, Uncle Murthy, Sister Anushka, Sister Baudharni. Really, really nice sharing from all three of them, and we had various thought processes, right? So it was very nice to see all the different ideas, the different sharings that were given. Really, thank you all so much, and thanks to Brother Arvind as well for moderating the session very well. And also thank you all for participating and joining in our session today. So we won't have a satsang for next month, as next month we'll be focusing on Swami's Aradhana program. So we will see you all for our next satsang on in May. All right, so do stay tuned. Stay tuned for the details, which we will share in the coming months, the coming weeks. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We will end the session today with our prayers. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Samasta loka Sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka Sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka Sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.